Morning, folks. Mike here. Let's talk a little bit about policy because President Biden's State of the Union talked about banning of non-competes, which would be a huge shift for the business community. For those of you who don't know, non-competes are just like they sound. You sign an agreement with your employer that says you will not compete with your employer. You won't take the same or similar job with the competing employer, and you won't start your own business which competes with your employer. Now, as a lawyer who's done mergers and acquisitions, these things make perfect sense when you're dealing with business owners and you're paying them millions of dollars and you don't want them to take that money and go compete against you. Now, over the last 10 years, these things have proliferated and they're used everywhere. The medical community is most subject to them, but it's starting to be used everywhere to stop people from being able to move around and find a better job. And this is in direct contradiction to all those people that say the government has no business being in the economy and that they should just let the market handle it. This is what the market is producing, is a labor market that isn't free to move around. You can't be somebody that's in support of the free market and say that these things are just part of the free market, because they're not. They actively restrict the market. They artificially deflate wages, and they make sure that nobody can come in and lower prices because you can't start a competing business if you're subject to one of these non-compete agreements. So these people remain at these jobs and they can't go out and get better jobs, which is what all of those people that rail against minimum wage say people should just go out and get a better job. Well, a lot of times you can't because you're tied to an employer that doesn't have to do anything to keep you. They don't have to raise your wages. They don't have to increase your benefits package. They don't have to make things better for you there because you can't leave, because you can't put your family at risk. So I applaud President Biden on this. I think that these things should be severely limited in their scope and use, and I think President Biden is doing a very good job of pushing this economy back in the corner of the middle class.